Okay, currently in mathematics, we are working on increasing and decreasing patterns. And in grade 3, the children are not only expected to be able to say whether a pattern is increasing or decreasing, but they have to know by how much, and they have to be able to extend that pattern. So if we were to look at the two diagrams that we have on this page, figure 1 has one square. The first thing that they would have to do is to write how many squares there are in each one of the diagrams. So the first one has 1, the second one has 3, the third one has 6. The next thing the students should do is draw arcs between the figures and show how the images are changing, how the figures are changing. So we've gone from 1 to 3, we've added 2. We've gone from 3 to 6, we've added 3. The next thing they should be able to recognize is where each of the additional blocks are being added. So if we look at the first figure here, we've got that here, so we've added 2 on the bottom. We take this figure, here it is here, we've added 3 on the bottom. So they should be able to tell me that if we've added 2, then we've added 3. In the next diagram, we're going to add 4. And since we've added 2 and 3 on the bottom, the 4 should also be added on the bottom, and then you would have the rest of your figure that you already had in the preceding element. They're also expected to be able to express the pattern rule for the pattern that they see. And in this case, in French, they would say à partir de 1, that means starting with 1, which is the number of blocks that they start with. Ajoute 2, add 2. Ensuite, next, add one more, ajoute un de plus que la fois d'avant, or la fois précédente. So I'm going to express that all together now. À partir de 1, ajoute 2. Ensuite, ajoute un de plus que la fois précédente. Starting with 1, add 2, then add one more than the previous time. It's a little bit confusing, but the students seem to be catching on. If your child is having difficulty with this, it might be a good idea to get some blocks or get some grid paper and start practicing, different ways that patterns can change. In the next diagram that we have, again, we would count how many blocks we have in the diagram. So this one, of course, would be 5. This one would be 7. And if they look at the next one here, they'll see that it has 11. Being able to tell what is missing from a pattern is also part of the requirements for grade 3. And again, we're going to look at what we start with and where the extras are added. So if they take the previous or the first element here, they can see it again here, and they know that they've added 1 here and 1 here. So 1 to the left and 1 to the right, and they've added 2. If they take this pattern or this shape and they reproduce it here, it's a little difficult for me with my big fingers on a small laptop screen. So they've reproduced figure 2, and then they're going to add 2 more like we did in the first one. So we've got a plus 2. Then they will see that they have 9 in this figure. And of course, it's plus 2 here for the next. And the pattern rule for this one is a little bit easier because what you're adding is constant. It's not changing. So they would say, à partir de 5, starting with 5, ajoute 2 chaque fois, add 2 each time. There's 1 to the left and 1 to the right. So, à partir de 5, ajoute 2 chaque fois.